Welcome back, Cowboys Nation, and thanks for joining me today because we've got a lot to break down after the first week of NFL preseason action. The Dallas Cowboys just wrapped up their opening game of the preseason, and while the scoreboard may not count toward the regular season standings, what we saw on the field absolutely matters for what's coming this year. From standout rookie performances to some eye-opening injury updates, depth chart battles, and a few players already making a serious push for roster spots, this week has given us plenty to talk about. Whether you're a die-hard fan who's been following every training camp snap or you're just checking in to see how America's team is shaping up, today's breakdown will get you up to speed on everything from Phil Mafah's impressive debut to Mazi Smith's progress, Toia's impact, and all the latest on the rookie class. So buckle in, because this isn't just another preseason recap, this is a first real glimpse into what the 2025 Cowboys could look like when the games start to matter. Let's start with the name that has a lot of Cowboys fans buzzing right now, Phil Mafah. The rookie running back stepped onto the preseason stage and looked like he belonged from the very first snap. We've been hearing about his explosiveness in camp, but seeing it live against an actual NFL defense was another story entirely. Mafah ran with power, patience, and vision, consistently finding lanes and breaking tackles. What stood out most wasn't just his speed, but his balance after contact. Multiple times, defenders thought they had him wrapped up, only for Mafah to keep his legs churning and fight for extra yards. In a post-Ezekiel Elliott era where the Cowboys are still figuring out their long-term backfield plan, this was exactly the kind of debut you want to see from a young back. If he keeps this up, he could earn meaningful carries sooner than expected, even with Tony Pollard leading the way. Coaches are already impressed with his pass protection awareness, which is huge for trust in third down situations. Now shifting to the defensive side, Mazi Smith's performance was another key storyline. After a rookie year that left some fans wanting more, Smith came into camp this season looking stronger, quicker, and with a much better grasp of Dan Quinn's defensive schemes. Against the run, he was disruptive, clogging lanes, occupying double teams, and forcing the opposing offense to adjust. But it wasn't just a power game, we also saw him flash some improved pass rush moves. His ability to collapse the pocket from the interior could be a huge boost for the Cowboys' defensive line rotation, especially when paired with Micah Parsons' edge pressure. The biggest takeaway with Mazi is confidence. He's playing faster, reacting quicker, and not overthinking. The staff has been vocal about wanting him to take a year-two leap, and based on this first showing, he's on the right track. Speaking of defensive linemen making a name for themselves, Toia has been one of the pleasant surprises from training camp, and his preseason debut only added to that momentum. The undrafted rookie out of UCLA came in with something to prove, and he made his presence felt immediately. Toia's combination of size, leverage, and motor gave the opposing offensive line problems all night. He was constantly penetrating into the backfield, forcing hurried throws and disrupting run plays before they could develop. For an undrafted rookie, it's all about stacking good days, and Toia has been doing exactly that since camp started. He's fighting for one of those final roster spots along the defensive line, and performances like this are how you get the coach's attention. In a room that already has some established talent, Toia's showing that he might just be too good to stash away. Of course, preseason also brings the less exciting side of football: injuries. The Cowboys had a couple of concerning moments in this first game. The most notable was a scare with one of the starting offensive linemen, who limped off after a play in the second quarter. While early reports suggest it might not be a long-term issue, the Cowboys aren't taking any chances, especially with depth on the O-line already being a talking point heading into the season. Another injury note came from the secondary, where a promising young cornerback left the game with what appeared to be a hamstring tweak. Soft tissue injuries can be tricky this time of year, and the team will likely be cautious to avoid lingering effects. The good news is that none of the early updates point towards season-ending concerns, but as we know, Even minor injuries can shuffle rotations and give other players more reps. Now, let's talk about the rookies as a whole. This class has been turning heads since OTAs, and the preseason opener gave us our first real game look at what they can do. Aside from Mafah's standout work, we saw strong performances from several other first-year players. The rookie wide receiver group, in particular, showed flashes of potential. One late-round pick made a highlight reel catch along the sideline, showcasing not just great hands but also the awareness to get both feet inbounds. Another undrafted receiver showed grit and physicality, fighting for extra yards after the catch. On defense, a rookie linebacker looked sharp in run support, quickly diagnosing plays and getting downhill with authority. His instincts stood out, and you could tell he's already picking up the playbook faster than some expected. For a team that's been looking to add depth behind the starters, that's exactly the kind of early season progress you want to see. Special teams is another area that often gets overlooked, but not by the Cowboys coaching staff. This week, we saw a rookie cornerback make a statement with a perfectly timed punt coverage play, pinning the opponent deep in their own territory. The kicker and punter also had solid outings, but the standout was really the coverage unit as a whole: fast, disciplined, and aggressive. In close games, those little moments can be the difference between winning and losing, and having rookies contribute in those areas is an encouraging sign. Training camp and preseason are as much about competition as they are about development, and we're already seeing some interesting position battles take shape. The backup quarterback spot continues to be a talking point, with both candidates getting extended action this week. One showed poise and accuracy in the short passing game, while the other demonstrated more mobility and willingness to take shots downfield. The coaching staff is likely going to keep this battle going right through the final preseason game, and every rep is going to matter. On defense, the cornerback competition is heating up as well. With Trayvon Diggs locked in as the CB1 and Stephon Gilmore providing veteran leadership, the battle for CB3 is fierce. Young players are stepping up, and the coaching staff is rotating them heavily to see who can handle different coverage assignments. Preseason is where you find out who's ready for bigger responsibilities, and after this first game, it's clear there are a few dark horse candidates making their case. The Cowboys coaching staff has been clear they want this team to be faster, tougher, and more physical in 2025. And from what we saw in the preseason opener, that message is getting through. Even in a game that doesn't count in the standings, the intensity was there. The defensive line looked aggressive, the linebackers were flying to the ball, and the offensive skill players were making defenders miss in space. That's the kind of identity you want to start building now, so it's second nature when week 1 rolls around. There's also a lot of excitement about how the rookies are blending with the veterans. You could see moments where young players were leaning on experienced teammates for advice on the sideline, and the chemistry in those interactions matters. Teams that win late in the year often have that blend of youthful energy and veteran know-how, and the Cowboys appear to be building that balance. Veterans like Dak Prescott, Zach Martin, and DeMarcus Lawrence were active on the sidelines, coaching up the younger guys and keeping the energy high. That leadership presence is huge for player development. Looking ahead, the Cowboys still have 2 more preseason games to fine-tune things, and that means more opportunities for roster hopefuls to make their case. Phil Mafah will have the chance to prove his performance wasn't a one-time flash. Mazi Smith will look to keep building momentum, and Toia will try to force the team's hand when it comes to final cuts. Injuries will be monitored closely, and fans will be hoping for cleaner games health-wise moving forward. As for the overall outlook after week 1 of the preseason, it's fair to say the Cowboys are in a good place. They've got young talent flashing, veterans staying engaged, and coaches willing to experiment with lineups to find the right combinations. There's still a lot of work to do, but the foundation is there. If this first glimpse is any indication, the 2025 Cowboys could be one of the more balanced and dangerous teams in the league. That's going to wrap up our breakdown of Cowboys news after NFL Preseason Week 1. From Phil Mafah's breakout moment to Mazi Smith's encouraging strides, Toia's underdog push, the latest on injuries, and the promising rookie class, there's no shortage of storylines to follow as we move deeper into the preseason. If you're a Cowboys fan, it's an exciting time, and if the team can stay healthy and keep developing at this pace, big things could be on the horizon. Make sure to stick around, because we'll be covering every twist and turn leading up to Week 1. And as always, if you enjoyed this breakdown and want more in-depth Cowboys updates, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video.